Alright guys, let's talk about some powering. Kind of laid out a little scenario on how I have all my stuff hooked up. Gonna talk about how you're gonna power your GPUs for some of the new guys who don't really understand it. I mean, I know there's a lot of YouTube videos out there and a lot of showing the complete rigs and all the breakdowns and whatnot. But when I first started, I basically was trying to come up with a DIY setup. So I came up with my frame, which you could see in some of my other videos and whatnot, but this is going to kind of break it down on how I have my GPUs all hooked up for like powering and whatnot. The way I used to have it, I get all my cables through parallel miner. I did end up getting some 750 watt power supplies. But I know they're pretty much dried out of those ones nowadays. But I pretty much go on eBay, find like a 2-pack 750 watt HP power supplies, which is the Platinum series, which is like, I want to say like 93% efficient. But yeah, pretty much an ATX power supply and then a server power supply. I have no problems powering at least a good 6 to 8 graphics cards. How I used to have all my stuff hooked up when I was first getting into this was I got these 3x3 splitters from Parallel Miners. Keep in mind these cables are all 18 gauge, which when you're running, they're recommended, I want to say like 300, maybe 400 watts on 18 gauge. I know Parallel Miner, I think they just don't have the wattage on there yet, or they removed it. But anyways, that's a 5700 XT. How I have it hooked up, it's got 2 top plugs to power it, right? So with all that, I used to like basically, you know, I know the risers on backwards, but for just to look at it is how I used to have it all hooked up. Coming from the server power supply, right? You got your breakout board and you got your wire, which is also Parallel Miner. This is a 16 gauge wire. So that's, the 16 gauge is fine. But once you start looking at the 18 gauge and you're starting to push, I mean, for wattage, this 5700 can do like 300 watts if you don't undervolt it or anything like that, which is a heck of a lot of watts. But, you know, with mining and stuff, you're going to undervolt it and overclock it and things like that. So, looking at it as that, you're running your plug coming from your server power supply into the bottom of the riser, and then 2 top plugs right there that you would end up plugging right into the top of the graphics card. And that's how I used to run most of my equipment. And then I learned what 18 gauge could do, and my opinion, I wouldn't recommend 18 gauge across the board for something like this situation. But Parallel Miner does have 18 gauge Y splitters, which are that right there, which I know I know it's 18 gauge, but I still kind of run it. Granted, it's short distances and I don't have power hungry cards right now. So in reality, I've already stopped running that layout, and I'm just kind of going to show you on how I have my layouts right now. If you're looking at an ATX power supply, right, you got the PCI coming into the back of the card. This would be one layout. So you got it plugged into the riser, and you could still have your Y splitter hooked up to the top of the graphics card, right? So if you looked at it like that, you still could run it like that with no problem. I haven't had any issues with running like that right now. I basically got 1070s and like 1660 Ti's and stuff like that. I don't have any 30 series cards that are really power hungry. So you could do that kind of a layout for one way. And then on some of the other, on like for my 1660s, I pretty much coming from the ATX power supply, you still have the power wire. One Y splitter goes into the bottom of the riser, and then one power wire goes to the top of the graphics card. Imagine if that was like a 1660. So having one top connector for your power for your GPU, you have no issues right there. But for running a server power supply, I'll just kind of use this as an example again. You still could have your server power supply, you plug that in, and basically it's the same kind of layout. Granted, it's not coming from the ATX power supply, but still would have the same kind of layout. Kind of do this one-handed. Alright, so with all that, I'll just have to grab another wire quick. So if you look at it as you could, sorry guys, I'm just trying to do this real time just to show you guys a little bit. Still have your server power supply, one wire running into the bottom of the riser, and then you'd have one other wire running to like the top of the Y splitter. So this is one way I have most of all my equipment running that needs two power wires up top. For like my 1070s that have two 8 pins and stuff like that. So that's pretty much how I have most of my power hungry cards, either running off an ATX power supply or on a server power supply. And then still with the 1660s, that's another way how I have them all hooked up, is basically laid out kind of like that, coming from the server power supply. Got a whole bunch of cables in. That whole stack right there is the 3-wire ones. I just kind of moved that. Hold on, let me lay it back out. I got a dozen of those. So I reached out to Parallel Miners, still waiting for a response right now on if I could return those. Granted, it's been like 4 months since I ordered them, so it's way past the return. But yeah, realistically, I only used like 4 of them, so maybe I'll just turn around and sell them on eBay or something. I don't know. I have no use for them. I'm not going to use them. And then I picked up some more shorter cables, but I thought they were male. These are the 17-inch. I thought it was a male 6-inch, which is a female. Not 6-inch. Males, like I thought it was a 6-pin to 6-pin plus 2 17-inch cables, but it was female 6-pin to a 6 plus 2. So I'm gonna end up having to return those ones. But yeah, I picked up some 12-inch ones, and I still had some 24-inch cables and whatnot. My main plan is to go through all my setup and make sure I got all my wires done correctly, because as soon as Ethereum becomes unmineable, I know everybody's going to be using these different algorithms like Ravencoin, all the power hungry algorithms, just to be a little safer so we don't burn things up. I mean, for some of the new people, I would really caution where you're getting your wires from. Parallel Miner, probably one of the best places you could get wires, because all of them are 16 gauge, granted except for the Y splitters and then these ones, but all the other wires, the ones that are really going to be using some power and whatnot, I looked it up. This 5700 XT, without underclock or without undervolting it or anything, that watts are like 300 watts. So if I left all that like factory without underclocking it, it's really going to be using a lot of power. But I figured I'd kind of do this short little video. I know I'm still starting my YouTube channel and things like that. I'm just trying to get more on a consistent schedule. But if I missed anything, or if you guys think I could do something better in some other way, just let me know. comment down below, like, share, do all that YouTube stuff. I'm trying to figure out on an intro and all that. I've done YouTube videos of like Minecraft back in the day, like we're talking like easily like 6 to 7, 8 years ago. But I know this channel is just basically kind of like a mining crypto channel and whatnot, but I'm not trying to limit myself just to that, so that's why I don't have my title name saying that I'm just like a mining channel. But all the normal YouTubers, the big YouTuber guys that I kind of follow, you know, like Red Panda, Chump Change, Hobbyist Miner, all those kind of guys, Mike, Red Fox, all those guys have very good input and content, and I just hope someday I could grow as big as them and all that kind of stuff. But I know you got to start somewhere, and I'm trying to start here. But yeah, if anything I missed or you guys would like to see other kind of content, I know I don't really do the whole computer showing like like the computer screen and stuff like that. I basically just record off my cell phone and kind of just, I don't edit anything. I just do like one take shoot and then just upload it that way. With me, how I work, I don't really have the time to sit and try to edit things and put it all together. I know that's one way to like boost my content level up, but I'm trying to do something. But if there's anything else, just comment down below, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.